Hey there, it's Chris from Good Roads, and I need a new pair of slide gloves. But before we get started, I want to take a moment for all of you out there who found the channel through snowboarding or street skating or 3D printing or tool making or whatever, and explain what slide gloves are. Slide gloves are a durable set of gloves with a piece or pieces of a hard, slippery material on the palm side. They're really awesome pieces of equipment for longboarding because they let you put your hand right on the pavement. And I don't mean in kind of the Dogtown Z-Boys touching the wave way, although that is really fun. With slide gloves, you can actually shift some of your weight onto your hand while you're moving at speed without cheese grating your palms into oblivion. Getting your weight onto your hands means that you can get that weight off of your board, and that unlocks the door to all kinds of technical sliding goodness. And incidentally, they also make it a lot safer when you fall at speeds. More on that later. This is my old DIY pair, and they were kind of past their prime to begin with. The last time I took them out, as you can see, one of the pucks shattered, so it's time for freshies. These are made in the absolute easiest way possible. You cut your pucks out of a cutting board, you hit the back of the puck with a blowtorch to melt it, and once it's molten, you press the glove into the back of the liquid plastic, and it acts like a hot glue and makes sure that the pucks stay attached. And since slide gloves are a nice, easy project, and this channel is about making stuff, I figured I would take a stab at upping my game and make a really nice set of slide gloves. And even though I'm upping my game and trying to make something that's a little bit more complicated than this, it's still gonna be a really easy build. And if you wanna try making a pair like this yourself, all you're gonna need is a sturdy pair of gloves that fit well. Gardening or work gloves work great for this. A cutting board, some adhesive-backed Velcro, and optionally a needle and thread. There's two components to this build, the gloves and the pucks, and I'm gonna start with the gloves. I rough cut 2 strips of the loop side of the Velcro, that's the fuzzy side, so I had roughly enough to cover the palm of one of my gloves. Sharp corners are the most likely place where the adhesive on our Velcro will start to peel up, so I rounded all of mine off. And once I had the shapes for one glove, I traced them onto the back of another strip of Velcro. When I cut these out, I'll have a mirror image of my shapes for the other glove. Perfect. Next, I peeled the backing off the Velcro, got it positioned on the gloves, and gently patted it into place. Just ever so gently. Rinse and repeat for the other 4 patches of Velcro. I really wanted this set of gloves to last, and I was worried that the Velcro would peel up, so I took the extra step of sewing down the edges to make sure they stayed attached to the gloves. This wasn't anything fancy, I just did it the same way you'd sew a patch to a jacket or a backpack or something, but the combination of the adhesive and thread should keep the Velcro in place for a long time. And a Netflix session of sewing later, we're looking good. The glove portion of this project is done. Next up, the pucks. The cutting board that I used had a texture on the surface, which makes sense. It's probably there to grip whatever it is you're cutting. But we don't want grip, we want slip. So I ran mine through the planer to smooth it out. Now the surface of the pucks is going to get all torn up after the first few runs down the hill, so this step is probably unnecessary, but I wanted to do it anyway. You guys all remember that technique we learned in kindergarten for making snowflakes? Next up, I used that to make an octagonal template for my pucks. I'm going to be cutting mine out with power tools, but a straight-sided puck like this could be cut out with a handsaw if that's the only kind of tools that you have available if you're trying to make your own. I traced them onto my plastic, and cut them out. If you don't have a bandsaw, you could use a jigsaw or a handsaw for this as well. And at this point we're looking at usable pucks, but I wanted mine to look nice and even, so I'm going to use the belt sander to get everything looking square and neat. And in order to do that, I used a loop of blue tape to stick my pucks together. This way when I sand them, they would be exactly the same shape. Then I refined my sides and my corners. There's a chance that the square edges on the pucks could catch on cracks in the road, so I took a little effort to round them off, which will hopefully give me a smoother slide. Then I worked my way up through the grits, trying to get my surfaces nice and smooth. Which didn't totally work, and since it looks like I'm being completely extra with this project anyway, I broke out a heat gun to smooth over the last of the sanding marks. This is purely for aesthetics and will have no impact on the final product at all. Next up, we're doing the other half of the Velcro equation and putting the hook side of the Velcro on the back of the pucks. We're using Velcro because it lets us replace the pucks as they wear out, and because on the off chance that they do snag in a crack, the pucks will tear off of the gloves instead of wrenching your shoulder. That's the hope anyway. As far as I could find out, loop on the gloves and hook on the pucks is kind of the industry standard. So if you make your gloves that way, you should be able to use the commercially produced pucks that are out there in the market. And with that, we're done. Let's test everything out. The gloves fit well, I still have freedom of movement in my hands, I haven't sewn them closed when I was stitching my Velcro in place. And the pucks hold firmly in place. The Velcro also allows me to adjust the position of the pucks to make sure they're in a comfortable place to support my weight when I'm hands down on the pavement. Okay, now for the fun part. Let's break them in. I haven't done any sliding in a while, so I'm going to start out with some shutdown slides to get back used to the feeling of having the wheels break out, but the goal is by the end of the session to get at least one solid slide and right away from it. So let's get to it. Wait, pause for a sec. Earlier on in the video, I mentioned that slide gloves make falling safer. So let me show you what I'm talking about. When you fall at speed, you want to slide. Do not tuck and roll. If you slide, you'll get some road rash for sure, but if you roll, that's how you break bones. Slide gloves transfer some of the downward momentum of your slam out of your body and into sliding down the hill. It reduces the force that you're hitting the pavement with, and it means that you don't fall as hard. Another thing they let you do is, since you can put your weight on your hands, you can get into kind of a push-up position. This gets your body up off of the pavement while you're sliding out and means that you get less road rash. I've had falls where even though it feels like I'm about to slam hard, all I walk away with is worn out slide pucks and torn up shoes. I'll take that over abrasions and broken bones every time. Okay, and now you know. Back to your regularly scheduled montage.
freaking sweet.
You! Well, these work great. I'm feeling just peachy about this build. I have gloves again. And you know what else felt great? Some of those slides. Now, none of them were particularly long, but it feels great getting the wheels to break out again in a controlled manner, and if I do say so myself, with just a little bit of steeze. But what do you guys think? I know more speed would help a lot, but I could certainly use some tips on getting my slides cleaner. I would especially like to have more control about when and how my wheels lock back up. The next thing I'm going to tackle is probably trying to get my Pendies or my Coleman slides back, so if you've got any tips, leave them below. You know, help a guy out. This project was a really fun, easy one. You can knock it out in an afternoon and then get out there and start doing some sliding. So I hope you liked it. If you did, why not consider subscribing? We do a ton of DIY board sport projects here on the channel. Everything down from the basics of board building all the way up to composite snowboard builds. We're trying to run the whole gamut. As always, if you've got questions, leave them down below. I do my best to answer them. Thank you for coming along with the journey. I love having you with me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.